Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sofia and today I have some really good historical romance book recommendations for you. It is probably one of my favorite subgenres. It's just the go-to comfort read, 18th century, Regency, Victorian era type things. Also, why are historical romance book covers so cringe? Because I do not have the confidence to whip out a mass market paperback with a shirtless man and a half-dressed woman. So please ignore the covers. I swear the books inside are so much better than the covers that are on the front. I love a good trope. Give me every single classic historical romance trope in a book and I'm a happy camper. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first book I'm going to be talking about is one of my new all-time favorite historical romances, and it is 9 Rules to Break When Romancing a Rake. Get it? By Sarah MacLean. Callie has followed all of the rules of society, yet is still a spinster at the age of 28, so she decides to make a list of everything that she has wanted to do but felt like she couldn't, and starts to take on these different tasks and then forms an alliance with a marquis. And he kind of helps her out and he's roped into some interesting situations with her and it's really fun. And I love how they're partners in crime and they have to get through these awful situations that she gets them into. There's literally not a dull moment in the whole book. It was so much fun, and it's a longer historical romance, but there were no slow parts. I was interested the whole time. The next book is another one of my absolute, the last one is probably my second favorite. This is my favorite historical romance ever, and it is The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics by Olivia Waite. Lucy has been helping her father, who was an astronomer, for years until his death. And so she's kind of sticking around in this small town. She then watches her ex-girlfriend slash ex-lover marry a man and decides that she just has to get out of town. So she heads to London in hopes to translate a French astronomy text to English, and she meets Catherine, who is sponsoring this whole project. And Catherine was married to a very prolific astronomer who unfortunately passed away. All of the men were super sexist towards Lucy and then towards Catherine, so the two of them support each other and start to fall in love. And it's so cute. They just are so supportive of one another, and really, Catherine has a passion for art, so Lucy really tries to push her in that direction, and then Catherine kind of gives Lucy pep talks throughout, and then they just start to really care for each other, and it's just such a genuine connection. And the thing about Sapphic that I really like is that they have to go against the societal norms to be with one another. So they have to truly care about each other. And it's just, I think their connection is a lot stronger than some of the straight romances that I've been reading recently. The whole book was just so thoughtfully written, especially in terms of the characters, where they interact with the world in different ways, and you can tell that you're in different people's heads from their thought processes. And it's just, you can tell that it's written by a woman who understands that two women do not think the same and that they can be together but have very different outlooks on life. I got deep there. The next one, I've talked about this on my channel before, and it is Storm and Silence by Robert Thier. It's a Wattpad book, and you know you're gonna go in there for a wild ride. Lily is a suffragette, and she is looking to gain independence, and she dresses up like a man and ends up getting hired by Mr. Ambrose, who is one of the wealthiest men in all of England, to be his secretary. He very quickly realizes that she's not in fact a man, but is willing to give her a chance very, very reluctantly. And they go on a lot of adventures. It's crazy, but their chemistry is just so electric, and you get so few of those good romantic moments, but when you get them, so good, so good. And you know what? I loved that it was on Wattpad because I could see what other people were reacting to at the same time that I was reacting to things. So it felt more immersive and it felt like a community experience. So I really liked that. But we have to move on because knowledge is power, is time, is money. I think I said that right. Okay. Now for my favorite historical romance author. You go to her and you know it's going to be a good time. You know you're going to get a good, solid book. And that is Tessa Dare. Like, I've never read a bad Tessa Dare book. I've read this is a solid time, but not an all-time favorite, but I know that it's going to be good quality. So let's go for my top 3 Tessa Dares. The first is the Duchess deal. So the Duke of Ashbury gets extremely wounded in the war and really scarred, and his fiancée ends up leaving him, but he still needs to produce heirs to take over the dukedom when he passes away. So he decides that he's going to get a wife to get heirs. And a seamstress walks into his office and she is wearing his ex-fiance's wedding dress and demanding that she be paid. And he ends up saying, you know what, this girl's here. It's easy. Let me just marry her. She's pretty, she's whatever. Let me marry her and produce heirs with her. So they end up setting up a marriage of convenience and fall in love. Ash was so funny, yet just so sweet under his douche facade. And Emma was so feisty and charismatic. I just love me a strong female character. Romancing the Duke follows Izzy, who is the star of her father's book series, and it has a really large fan base, but when he passes away, he leaves her with essentially nothing. And whenever any one of his fans finds out who she is, they're very surprised because she's not as attractive as the books made her out to be, and also they expect her to be the fictionalized version of herself as opposed to an adult woman. She finds out that she has inherited a castle, but when she gets there, there's a man claiming that he is the owner of the castle. He wasn't aware that the castle had been sold, and he's also blind, so he can't see what Izzy looks like, and he calls her beautiful, and she's like, something's up here. I know. Either you can't see me or you're lying to me. And she finds out that he is actually blind. Izzy's struggle throughout the book is just so cute. And the plot twist got me. I was not expecting that. So yeah, check it out. And my final recommendation for this video is The Wallflower Wager, which is your Slytherin Hufflepuff romance. Gabriel comes from the slums and has clawed his way out and has become one of the wealthiest men in England. So he acquires, in not the best of means, a house next to Penny with the intention of flipping the house. So he's doing repairs and all that stuff when he realizes it's going to be a lot harder to sell the house when Penny is there because she collects a lot of different animals. So he asks her to get rid of all of her animals, and one of her family members has also asked her to get rid of the animals that she's taken in because she's just a very caring person and hates to see any animals wounded, so she tries to heal them and keep them as pets. She agrees that she will get rid of them as long as he finds happy and safe homes for each one of them. So they team up and he can't help but fall in love with the animals and with her. Cute. It's just so wholesome. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, tell me how you felt about if you've read any of them, and I'm always looking for new books to read, so I would welcome any recommendations, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!